Yeah, well, like, you're not even kidding. There's tomb raiding and there's that. I mean, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of the Petty and Ill-Informed podcast, where we venture our petty and ill-informed opinion on various topics from across the interwebs. Joining me, as always, Kevo,
Hello, everyone.
Thomas,
Yeah, for better or for worse, I'm here.
and Nikki.
Yeah, hey everybody.
So I have my full complement of co-hosts with me tonight, and we're going to have a fun time discussing the topic, which is Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Thingamajig.
Yeah.
So, Nikki, do you want to get started?
Are you joking? Are you joking that we're not going to have any of the bands?
Yeah, we're not going to talk
You're just going to
bullshit.
go
first.
straight in.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
No. Let me tell you, because like, if I let you just go, you'll take Bants too far, and half an hour will disappear. I don't want to. Let's talk about the topic, and then we can do Bants.
All right. Well, okay.
Okay.
No, I get it.
Bossy.
Okay. This is it. He's got me smacked on the prick this morning. He's just smacking my prick and telling me because he knows what I want to talk about and he hates it.
You're doing it! Oh no! You're literally doing it now. What I just said. Just said.
Would I, as an Irishman, do anything to hurt an Englishman?
You're such a shit.
Yes, you're known for it. It's
All
like
right.
a whole thing.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Well,
Go ahead, Nikki. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Go ahead.
Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I know that a lot of people don't wanna like spend a lot of time on the conversation. We have a couple of listeners who aren't a fan, Dean, and some others. So I'm gonna be as quickly as possible. So it's about the trial that's going on now. So we know that they ended up getting a divorce back in 2016, and that was after she had already gotten a restraining order against him. And nice, Tom. Sorry, I saw the chat. So anyway, they get their divorce. She sends out an op-ed in the Washington Post and basically is saying that, she survived sexual assault and it was really sad that, people, she felt the brunt of it and whatever. So fast forward several years and Johnny Depp is filing a defamation case against her because after she said this, she didn't name him specifically, but the timing was so perfect along with the timing of other things, that he said it was defamatory. Everybody knew who she was talking about, whether it was true or not, and he lost jobs. Probably, he was supposed to get 20 million per Pirates movie, and he was tossed out of two of them. So anyway, the whole trial has lasted 6 weeks, and it has been like full days, 6 weeks apart, or 6 weeks through the whole thing, 8-hour, 10-hour days. It's been ridiculous. But the big deal is that you have people who are huge Johnny Depp fans that just immediately was going to believe him. And then you have people who are believe women no matter what. And those are very problematic too. So I went in, I'm not a huge Johnny Depp fan. I'll watch a movie that has Johnny Depp in it. It doesn't make me more excited to watch the movie than I was before. I'm not going to watch something just because he's in it. So when I found out that he was abusive, I was like, yeah, probably. So I didn't think anything of it. I went into the whole thing just figuring that Amber was going to have all this great evidence that she was getting beaten, but she didn't. And about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days into the trial, I realized that she's a crazy person. And there was that Johnny Depp should win. He ended up winning, but some of the crap that happened, there's possible perjury that's going to be brought up against her, because at first they were like, it's been 10 years. It could have been just them forgetting specifics or whatever. But as she continued on, she was very obviously lying on the stand about things. But some of the things that were brought up against Johnny Depp was he had apparently beaten her so badly at least twice that he broke her nose. When they asked her if she had medical records, she says, I didn't go to the doctor. I just assumed it was broken. Throughout the whole thing, like even her doctor testified that she didn't have medical records for any of these events. He apparently at one point put his knee on her back and proceeded to beat the crap out of the back of her head. And he broke the bed while his foot was seeking purchase on the bed frame. That was something that was brought up against him. He supposedly also sexually assaulted her with a bottle, or he was sexually assaulting her while grabbing a bottle. He sexually assaulted her, but nobody could get their facts straight on what happened. The only one that didn't have a changing story was Johnny Depp, who said it didn't happen. But the things against her is, of course, everybody's heard about her getting upset he was going to a premiere. She has abandonment issues, and she would throw a fit if he was leaving. And as someone who understands that anxiety, I would never hit somebody because we were in an argument and they needed to leave. Like, I want to fix it right away. But she would get to the point where she would beg him to stay. He would need to leave because it was heated. And she'd beat the hell out of him to get him to come back. She's taken off his finger. There was proof of that, evidence. There's audio of that. She antagonized him constantly, and there's lots of audio of that. The whole case was kind of a mess, because you find out that even doped up and stuff like that, when Johnny Depp didn't know he was being recorded, he still sounded like Johnny Depp. Super chill, just trying to be logical with this girl. But then again, like, he was in his 40s at the time, and she was 22, 23. So you have this much older man trying to be logic towards this chick who was just going off the rails. And when she was recorded, when she didn't know she was being recorded, she was a crazy person. Told him, why don't you just go tell everybody that you, Johnny Depp, are a victim of domestic abuse? Go ahead, you're a man. Just basically told him, just say you, a man, Johnny Depp, is a victim of domestic abuse. And he's like, yeah, I am. So anyway, they both won because she countersued for defamation charges. She ended up getting $2 million. He ended up getting awarded like $15 million plus $350 in punitive, which means that emotional damages essentially for everything. So at the end of the day, like when they were going through all of his to see if it was malicious and all of that, to see if Amber Heard had meant to hurt him with her commentaries, all of them were yes. She got hit with every single charge when it came to that. But Johnny Depp only got hit with like 2. But yeah, that is it. He won. I think it's a huge deal because it shows a man going to court and fighting for himself, because our society's so dismissive of men being in relationships like that. Like how often do people say, like, say a 15-year-old boy ends up being sexually, assaulted by his teacher? How many people are like, oh, when I was 15, or oh, he's 15, he wanted sex anyway? Like, people have that conversation. We allow things to happen to men that we would never allow to happen to women. And we allow women to treat men the way that we would never.
Teachers when I was in school.
See, stuff like that. Yeah.
Just saying, if I heard a 15-year-old boy said that he'd got sex with his teacher, I'd be like, nice.
Right.
And
but
probably high five him.
Right, but you were 15. That doesn't mean that it was correct or that it wasn't damaging to this kid. Or even welcome.
Well,
Yeah,
I guess.
At that point, it's grooming. I mean, really.
Right. It's a tough one being a teacher. I know, and Tom and I are both, actual teachers. And so it's very, very hard to, to
Man, I
actually.
shouldn't have used that, but go ahead.
No. But what I'm saying is that I know it was just a quick aside because that was one of those things that I find to be really sort of an interesting thing. One time when I was single and I was, I was out in the town, you know what I mean, and I was out a lot, and this one lady said, "Well, since you're a teacher and everything, do you want me to dress up like a schoolgirl, and you can, have sex with?" And I was like, "What are you talking?" And I know that's what I was like. Why don't I mean? I was like, "No, you need to get out." The fact that you even brought it up, and now you expect me. I mean, I couldn't. I mean, I was like, "No, like I can't break that."
Right.
The very fact that. I mean, I suppose it would be like if you were gay and somebody said, "Oh, hey, do you want me to dress up like an altar boy?" You know what I mean? You can put,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Blimey.
It's just wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah.
And so, but why I thought it was interesting is that there is or was at a period of time before the vastness of the Me Too movement, the idea of the older man and the younger girl, that like the very young girl sexual thing. And so in a lot of ways this relationship sort of fits that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
100%. And there's
Yeah.
a huge difference in power dynamics. So that was a good reason why I thought immediately when when it was assumed that Johnny Depp had beaten the crap out of her, I was like, that makes sense. He's like 20 plus years her senior. There's a huge power dynamic difference in him being Johnny Depp and her being in, like, I don't know, 4 movies.
Right.
Whatever. There's a huge difference. So I just went ahead and assumed that he was the aggressor, but that's because I'm not a huge Johnny Depp fan. I've never really seen any interviews with Johnny. I know nothing about this man, so I didn't realize how incredibly submissive he is.
Right.
And then, like, looking back and like starting to go through stuff, I've noticed now more that it's there. You could see it. He's just a very submissive person. So
Yeah.
honestly, it just happened. There's this beautiful blonde 22-year-old who has been in trouble for domestic violence before. She found Johnny Depp. He found her attractive, and she went, he's got a lot of money. And I really think that that's 100% what it was about. So she took a situation, could have been really bad for her. And since she is an aggressive person and a shrewd and crude kind of person who will do whatever she needs to in order to get ahead, she like dominated the crap out of that man. I bet you she wishes that she would have taken her $7 million and shut the hell up.
Yeah, but do you think? No, I mean, here's the thing here's the question that I find interesting about it. A lot of people are saying he won. I mean, that's true.
He didn't know. They both won.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
Won.
Right.
He won all of his cases against her.
Right.
And he got awarded for all of his cases against her. Meanwhile, she didn't win all of her cases against him.
Right.
So if you count money and the sheer amount of cases that he won over her, yeah, he won.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think what happened is he got what he needed back. He's got his credibility. He will get jobs again. And honestly, for me, I hope Amber Heard gets smacked with perjury charges here in the U.S. and in the U.K.
Yeah, but I think that more of the case of it is that you're going to look at it as they both lost. One of them will come out of the loss better than the other one. That's the way I looked at it. You know what I mean? Like I know some people will say, okay, well take that as a win, but it's in a way anyway. But I mean, I don't, like I said, I didn't watch it either, and from that standpoint, but it is an interesting thing. I mean, whenever you were dealing with this, I've always been told, it's very, very hard to sort of prove these sort of defamation cases and all these different
Yeah.
things because, I mean, let's face it,
But that kind of shows you the caliber of evidence that he had against her.
Yeah.
That they not only, they were like, yeah, we believe that she said this and that this came from her mouth, and we believe, yeah, that it was about Johnny Depp.
Right.
But the big one is, do you believe she said those with malicious intent to
Yeah.
mess up his credibility and destroy his life? And on
Right.
every single one, the jury all said,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, she
Yeah.
did this with
Yeah.
malicious
Right.
intent.
Yeah. I mean, I am. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, and I always think of that. Well, I can't for various reasons. I don't think I'd ever be put on a jury. But if I was on a jury, I'd be the sticky one because I would be like, okay, well, I'm sure that there's something in it, like, like where defamation in some states. The way I understand it is, if you believe it, that and you say it, then it's not it's not defamation. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
it's usually not that sort of level of.
And that goes to what Tom had asked me. He said, do you believe that she believes? How much of her lies do you think that she believes?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the thing is I don't think she believes any of them. She knows their lies. She
Oh,
knows
is that really?
everything. Oh, 100%. If
Yeah.
you watch it, she was given the act of her life. Like, she really was just giving her fullest performance. It was very annoying to watch, like, 2 days of her going through just regular examination from her own attorney, because she would go off on a tangent so long and so full of just hyperbolic facial expressions
Right.
that you would forget what the original question even was.
Right.
So I was excited because I was like, okay, this is going to tell us. If she starts on that wistful crap and just being all verbose when it's cross-examined, then that's probably reality. But it wasn't. Like, as soon as she started getting cross-examined, she suddenly had a lot less to say. And when she did have more to say, it was ridiculous and essentially hearsay or just not admissible.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like I said, I'm sure it was a tangled thing. I'm pretty sure that there was probably a lot of objections at a certain point in time.
Oh gosh, listen, her attorneys were so bad that her own attorney objected to his own question.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I saw the interaction with Johnny Depp and her attorney, and it just looked like to me like it was laughable.
The whole thing was just a complete shit show, and that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it because I like watching court cases in general. I think they're fun because I'm weird.
Right.
But I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and watch this, and then I just got sucked into it. My husband, who doesn't give a shit either, just got to the point where he was sitting down next to me going, what's going on now? What the hell? Like, we were both just watching it like it was a TV show. And I feel bad for Johnny Depp because he's got drug issues. He's had to air out he's a very secretive, like, not secretive, he's a private person. So he just had to air out like everything, on top of saying, yeah, my wife abused me for a few years. He then had to go in, yeah, I've got a drinking problem. I like my cocaine. I like my drugs. I do, shrooms. I do blah, blah, blah. That's rough, when you've got, and then he had to talk about his mom, and, he had abusive upbringing. I think she just saw a weak person and went for him.
Well, it's a funny thing whenever you look at, whenever so you would almost describe her as being sort of sociopathic.
I would say she's a narcissist.
Yeah. Well,
at the very least. But yeah, sociopathic. I mean, she beat there's been plenty of evidence, like just verbally in video and stuff, where you just assume she beats the crap out of her sister.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, in a lot of ways, you can see this where a lot of women, and in a case like that, it usually is a female who's being taken advantage of by a
Yep.
male.
Yep.
But obviously things are less clear. And so in a case where, I mean, I've been in a relationship with abusive person, and it is one of those things where it's very hard to say, oh yeah, this is going on, or this kind of behavior is tough, because and in a lot of ways people do look at it like, that you can't handle you're a man and you can't handle your business. That's the first,
Right.
like from that standpoint is, and then, and it does get to a point where there's a lot of, he said, she said.
Yeah. And it's all about who has the most evidence. And honestly, she really didn't. So, like, one of the evidences is that, like I talked about how he broke the bed, right?
Right.
So she took a picture the next day of the broken foot of the bed.
Yeah.
And this was after he apparently like pushed her onto the bed. Her head was towards the head of the bed, and he's beating the crap out of the back of her head with his knee
Mhm.
and her back, trying to seek purchase with his other foot on the
Allegedly.
footboard.
Allegedly. Yeah.
She takes a picture the next day of the bed and the mess next to the nightstand, which could have been freaking anything. It really, really wasn't a mess. I've had my nightstand look way worse than that.
Right.
So anyway, you would think if he was punching her as hard as he could in the back of the head, that more than likely she would have had contusions of some sort on the back of her head, especially when her sister Whitney claimed that inside the splinter of the footboard was hair and blood. So you think the day after, when she took pictures of the back of the bed and the nightstand, that she might have maybe taken pictures of the back of her head,
Yeah.
but she didn't.
Right.
You know what I'm
would
saying?
think
Like,
maybe, yeah, but I mean, it's so tough because,
she's surrounded by people constantly. Why couldn't someone have? These people are talking, they're testifying that they're there taking pictures and stuff with her. Why
Yeah.
did none of them take pictures of the back of her head?
Yeah, that's very
The
weird.
one picture we get of her head
Yeah.
is her parting her hair, and she says that he had pulled out her hair. There's Man, I think I've lost more hair like brushing my hair before and getting it caught because, curls.
Right. Well, I mean,
So
man, it's a tough thing. I mean, what if they were?
It is.
I mean, what if they were a couple who enjoyed sort of aggressive sex?
That's different. See,
No,
that's consensual
no, I
BDSM.
understand, but
Yeah,
then,
that's true.
yeah, but then at that point, because I mean, dude, like you
Right.
can. Well, I'm not going to get into it, but you could break a.
Yeah, you can absolutely break a bed that way.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is there's a lawyer who was there every single day because he
As Richard knows,
practices.
because he tells me about how he's breaking the bed every week. He just like
Yeah.
really says, I picked some chick up from the pub,
Yeah.
and he's going out tonight, and he's going to score one because it's the Queen's anniversary, and everybody needs to get laid on Jubilee.
That's right. So Tom,
I'm not going to rise to that.
you said you have Tom. You said that
I'm
you
baiting
have
him.
thoughts on this, so we'll shut up and let you talk.
Okay. Yeah. Am I coming through? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Great. Well, what it was I agree with everything you've said. I do think you have to be so careful when talking about these things. I do think they're both have done regrettable things. She far more so than him, but I don't
I
think
agree with that.
his behavior has been perfect. I mean, God knows who's could have been in that situation, you could argue. But anyway, I mean, some of the was it the message exchanges with Paul Bettany and things like that, that kind of thing. Now, one of the things that I do at my school is online safety and looking at trolling and online bullying and things like that. And by God, isn't Amber Heard getting both barrels from every single keyboard warrior on the planet right now?
Not every single, but absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
And
no,
I
not
think that
every
she
single.
deserves it.
Okay, well that's.
I hate to say that. Like I don't like to bully people. Well, that's not true. Obviously, I like to bully some people online. You see my Facebook. Um
Yeah,
but my thing is like I'm I'm not the person that says that she should have sat down and shut up. I'm not that person. Um do I believe that he's probably hit her in the past? Yeah. But do I believe that it was in self-defense? Generally, I believe that most of her the pictures that she's shown with some bruises or whatever, it very easily he was able to get up and physically show how he moved. And a lot of times when people do that in cases, they actually get tripped up because their brain, like they weren't actually there, so they're going to move in some unnatural way. I think that he's hurt her trying to get her off of him. I don't
yeah,
think that he's been the aggressor. Has he probably scared the crap out of her by slamming cabinets and stuff? Absolutely. Has he probably yelled at her and called her some horrible names? Yeah. But every time that we've seen an instance that's kind of like that, he's physically trying to leave the situation.
yeah.
An abuser's not going to do that. And also, I'm probably going to get some crap from Samara, maybe, because Samara and I have talked, and it's a little bit different. Johnny Depp didn't look at her the entire time they were in the thing, and I feel that because I've had an abuser in the past, and if I went to court, I wouldn't have been able to look at him. But also, uh, an abused woman isn't going to antagonize like that. If she's honestly afraid for her life, she's not gonna be calling him horrible names and trying to get him to hit her.
Yeah.
If that's like her life, she would be the one trying to escape the situation, not
Yeah.
trying to drag him back and going, "Hey, is that all you got? Is that all you got? Come on. Thought you were a big man." You know, you don't do that to your abuser if you're this poor woman.
No.
You also
Yeah, but
are not going to
I disagree with that.
you
I
don't
dis
think
I disagree with the fact that some, and I'm not saying men, women, whatever.
right.
Some people will say to you, "Is that all you got?" Or
No, I'm with you on that because I'm a
try to
smart aleck.
emasculate you so that
I
you
get that.
do hit them.
Right.
I
That
mean,
you
they're
do
trying to
so
pick
that you do hit them. They're
right,
antagonizing you.
right.
It's not because you're afraid they're going to hit you. You're not going to say that because they're afraid they're going to hit. You don't say that when you're abused per se.
No, no.
And
But all
you
I'm
know,
saying is that there's two sides. There's, like I said, that's the part where the story
yeah.
changes, where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, whenever you're in the argument, it's like, okay, here I am, I'm trying to go, and it's like, you're gonna leave, you're gonna just leave it like that. What are you doing, Johnny? Why can't you just handle it? Why can't you just? You never handle it.
Yeah,
You,
you're not a
you're
man. You just
you're not
walk
a
out and
man.
leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you leave? I don't like. I mean, and then all of a sudden he lashes out against her, and which is not right. And I would
Right.
guess that,
That's not right.
and I would guess that he would say that's not right.
Right.
But
And
then,
he flat
and
out admitted stuff like that,
yeah,
but he's flat out been like, I have not abused her. Like I haven't punched her. And
yeah,
I honestly I believe that.
right. But in that case, but what I'm saying is in that case, what I'm saying is, and what I'm trying to get at is, in a lot of ways, if you are an abused person, you
Yeah,
interpret the abuse the way you were abused,
that's true.
and
That's true.
not necessarily the way that it happened.
That's true.
Because so I'm just gonna say, unfortunately, that's the way I look. I mean, so unfortunately, I think if you look at it like they were both
They're both
fine,
toxic.
they were both found wrong, and I agree with that. And
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to focus on,
Well,
because of the fact, that
the problem is they were both toxic to each other. Now,
yeah,
whether
Yeah.
like Amber has proven that she's toxic all over the place with all the people, right? Johnny Depp has exes who have stood up and been like, that's never been a thing. But that doesn't mean that they wasn't toxic in this, because Johnny Depp was abused very badly by his mother. And I
Right.
think that he found a woman who triggers him in the exact same way that his mother triggered him.
Right.
And so he's immediately going to lash out, just like she was triggered badly by him when he went to walk away. And as someone who has those abandonment issues, which I do, honestly, the most anxiety inducing thing you can do to me, besides say, hey, we need to have a talk later and not
Yeah.
give me any kind of context,
Right.
is in the middle of an argument, say that you need space and walk away. Because in someone who has like an abandoned kind of issues with abandonment, they're immediately going to go, this person isn't coming back. I can't save this. We're not feeling okay right now. We're not doing all right. They can't leave like this. If we could just sit down and talk about it, they'll stay and we can have like a real conversation. And when
Right.
you have someone who is incapable of that and keeps walking away, so they just triggered the mess out of each other.
Right.
But Amber is used to responding in an incredibly unhealthy way.
Right. But I think you're very, very right in the fact that it is an interesting thing that in that case of, and what you're getting at is, in that case, if they've got this weird dynamic and she's got this, I mean, to be honest with you, I am the exact same way as that, Nikki. I cannot let somebody leave without trying to resolve it.
Right. And
I mean?
I know you're not, because I can tell, because until I worked on myself like a lot, I had issues with silence.
Right.
And so I identify that when you're like, I have a hard time, I'm afraid of things going quiet. I used to have that problem too.
Right. Yeah.
And I still have that problem depending on who I'm with.
Yeah. Well, you can see, like I said, I mean, and
Yeah.
obviously on the podcast, you can see that. I hate
Right.
dead air. I hate
Right.
it. I
Right.
hate
Because now you're starting to get anxious. Like, is it something
Yeah.
I said? Do I need to fill this in? Is there a problem now? Do I need,
it.
So
Right. Are they really figuring out that I'm a member of the Illuminati and MI6?
I knew it. I mean, I've
I-
always known
you
it,
know,
but you
I-
offered me the job that one time.
Yeah. Well, I know.
But I had to tell you I was with the CIA, so it doesn't work with the both of us.
on.
Sometimes we might work together.
Everybody's with the CIA.
Everybody.
So, Nikki, two thoughts occur, if I may.
Absolutely.
Firstly, addressing what you were, Amber heard one final time. I don't think any good will come out of continued mass trolling, death threats, whatever else on the internet.
Oh, absolutely not. No, I don't believe that I don't believe that you should be telling. No one deserves to get death threats or to have someone tell them to go kill themselves. Those are two things that are not okay. However, making fun of them, she's a public personality, okay? And I hate to say this, but we make fun of public personalities, and it's fair game when you've put yourself out there.
Yeah. Well,
and she could just not look like, or not, and she probably doesn't care. She cares that she cares that she owes all this money, and they're talking about an appeal, which is funny because her attorney was sitting there going, oh, we got all these medical papers that they wouldn't have admissible in court, but her doctor herself said that there were no medical transcripts stating that any of this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to try to appeal. It's just going to be another circus, and I hope she loses again. Maybe she'll owe him 20 mil. That'd be great.
Yeah, but I think that part of the issue and what we don't know, and I'm just saying this as a person who used to deal with very high value, high worth people. She may have some kind of an umbrella policy over her thing, like a PELP or something like that. It's personal liability plan that just whenever you get sued, they try to make a defense, you see, and so they would take that to court. So a lot of times it's a matter of she may not even have to pay the 15 or the 17 mil. She may have that already figured out, that somebody's carrying that liability for her. This does happen. with high value clients that you recommend that you have this kind of umbrella policy.
That's true. It does.
Yeah. And
Um,
we don't really know what to do. So I mean, obviously, if the insurance company is hiring this individual, they need to bring
dude, and they're
somebody
so
else
off.
in.
Yeah, they need to get somebody else because she can't pay the 10 mil. I mean, unless she's gonna get Daddy Musk to do it. Which is she even with Elon Musk anymore?
Well, the thing that I'll say about it is, that seems like that would be a very, I would think, strange relationship because you know what,
I think any relationship with
I think
Elon Musk is going to be a
yeah,
strange
I
relationship.
think he's nuttier than a fruitcake.
Oh, absolutely. He
And,
absolutely is.
and he's got that sort of dispositional disorder where he's
Yep.
gonna just say everybody's wrong
Yep.
and create shite. I
Yep.
mean, you could see that this whole Twitter thing was just, I'm gonna look at me, I'm gonna come in, tank the market and everything like that, negotiate stuff, come up with some really bullshit reason why I can't do it, and then just freaking just leave the market in a wake of shite.
Well, he is his own
Worst
he
enemy, yeah.
well, his own worst enemy, but he's also his own essentially publicist. Like he is the face
Right.
of his company and he makes a lot of his decisions and money based on he just advertises for himself.
Right.
You
And
don't see Jeff
yeah,
Bezos doing this. I mean, Jeff
no,
Bezos does some questionable stuff, but everybody else fairly low key. Elon Musk in everything.
yeah. Gotta be. I mean, and that's the thing I was saying. I mean, this last 2 weeks, I'm just like, I'm like, Elon Musk takes a shit. Elon Musk does this.
Yeah,
And
100%.
and the funny part about it is, if Elon Musk took a shit, half the people that I'm friends with on the internet would be like, "Oh, that was a master stroke of brilliance." I can't. The timing of that shit was awesome, and I bet
perfect.
you the consistency of it was just exactly the right way. It's
Right.
just like, I mean, it's like, can you get his dick out of your mouth any fucking faster? I mean, it's just like Elon Musk is not the end all be all.
Nah.
But apparently, everybody thinks he is. From a certain standpoint, I don't get it.
Right.
But anyway, that's fine.
All right. So
sorry to take that over there. Sorry.
We've taken enough time. Unless Richard, do you want to say something about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp before we go on and talk about the Queen?
He doesn't want to.
I don't want to talk about the Queen.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't want to talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard either. I mean,
Guys,
really,
I've got one final question, which might round up the topic nicely. Just basically a yes or no answer. Could Disney redo Aquaman 2 without Amber Heard as part of it?
I don't care. I mean, I'm probably not going to watch Aquaman 2. The only reason I watched the first one is Jason Momoa doesn't have a shirt on for like a vast majority of it. I'm just not an Aquaman fan. I know, typical trousers thinking with their floof.
You beat me to it. High five across the pond, Robinson. High five across the pond. I was thinking it. You said it. Boom.
That's right. That's what it was. It's the only reason I watched it. So I might see the second one, but I really don't care whether she gets a job or not. She keeps jobs. I don't care. It doesn't.
Hey, listen, I'd rather see Jason Momoa without a shirt on than Amber
Heck
Heard.
Yeah.
She looks like Skeletor.
Aw.
She does. She looks like Mary Berry. That's why.
Nicely
brought it back around.
Nicely
done.
I was trying to tee it up for you, Rick.
It's good. Well played. Yeah, brought it back around.
I tried to tee it up for you, and you didn't take the shot. You got to take the shot.
You were the one who just you didn't give me a chance. You just kept rolling with it.
Yeah, no. All right. Well, we're in Texas. I've given you the opportunity. Take a shot. Go ahead, Richard.
Well, now is the moment's past, Kevin.
No, the moment's not past. You've got up to 45 minutes to make entry at this point in time.
Anyway, no, I don't look, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, bad as each other, don't give a shit. It's just more, it's like the Chris Rock thing. It's just more vapid, shallow morons. You ever seen his apology video after he got caught sneaking dogs into Australia? That's all you need to know about the man right there. That apology video. Screw him. Screw her. I don't care. There are far more interesting things to talk about.
Well, and I think that well, it's like we are supposed to be in love with the character, not the person who acts.
No, I used to like Johnny Depp, and then that apology video happened, and it's just like, just like piss off. Seriously, it's just
Richard. Come on, Richard, please finish.
It just irritates me. We're having like the worst cost of living crisis worldwide. The entire planet is in an economic depression. The Ukraine thing's happening. And we're talking about the Jubilee or the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp thing. And it just...
Have you ever thought that, like, people just want something to take their mind off of all the horrible crap that's happening?
Yeah, but they're not dealing with the horrible crap.
Yeah, but
what are you gonna do with the horrible crap? Like, what are we supposed to do as regular civilians?
We're supposed to get together and revolt.
But that's not going to happen. The thing that I find out about, I think Niki has a point in the fact that people can take a lot. You know what I mean? They really can take a lot if they think that somebody else has it worse than them. And that's one of those things where, in a strange way, that's why we end up talking about Ukraine and everything like that on a daily basis. It's because you can look at it and say, okay, I can't afford, I'm having beans and rice again for dinner, and I'm having to club together with somebody to get to work because the price of petrol is too expensive. But at least I'm not in Donbass getting bombed by some Russian prick. Or
basically,
or having to deal with some school shooting, or having to deal with the Amber Heard thing and the Johnny Depp thing is a throwaway thing. It's more of a bit of enjoyment. But you do find that the topics of the week, as you say, go to this thing of at least it's not me. At least it's not my kid that's dead. At least it's not at least my family's, probably not in Ukraine. And so that's the way you look at it from that standpoint. And somebody who's rich is having an inconvenience. You know what I mean? Because, really.
Right.
It doesn't matter what a judge said.
We take a bit of pleasure off of watching people who are far more important than us and have far more things than we. I mean, the man's so rich. He's got like a bajillion houses. He's got 3 penthouses in one building. Like, dude, I don't feel sorry. Like, there's something a little bit nice about kind of seeing people knock down a peg.
Yeah.
As awful as that sounds, oh, they got issues too.
No, I mean, the thing that I think is funny is that all 4 of us have a healthy sense of Schadenfreude. You know what I mean? Not that there's I'm just using the German word because there's no really good English translation for it.
Yeah.
But we really do take pleasure in seeing other people's suffering to a point.
We do.
And I mean, I make no apologies for it, because sometimes they need it, whether they're talking about whatever subject they're hoaxing or going through on paranormal or in public trying to get through it or trying to maintain this certain. I mean, a lot of that has to do with maintaining a certain image that it's impossible to maintain. You know what I mean?
Right.
That you're going through, and the mask falls off. Everybody loves it when the mask falls off. Well, some people don't. They love to continue it on, but
right.
whenever a famous person's mask falls off or the emperor has no clothes moment, you know, secretly I love it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep. That
Richard
is
and
how it
Tom have
works.
no opinion on that.
None.
No.
So
Well-
Richard, what?
He didn't even listen to anything I said. He was just like typing.
I
Yeah.
listened. I listened to you. I feel it to an extent, but very quickly, my wife calls me the patron saint of lost causes, and I'll very quickly sort of have a lot of empathy and hope the person learns from their mistake and things like that. I mean, I asked the question about Amber Heard because I don't know. I don't. It'd be nice to see some proper contrition and proper apology
Right.
before she sort of claims victimhood, because she is definitely claiming victimhood. She did it first in she did it first in the trial, and now she's sort of doing it over through what she's getting from social media. But yeah, she just you can just simply not look at that. But it's all out there. I mean, I would hope that she would sort of show some contrition over this, apologize, say she's going to get some professional help for some of the issues that have boiled over in this.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't feel the need to reshoot and recast her. I don't know.
Right.
Because I mean, I don't think she deserves to be written off as a person for life. For now, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I
very,
don't
very
think
few.
so either.
And
But
she
needs to get psychological help. They both do.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And I love Tom's answer. I love that minute or 2 minutes that you just talked. That was the you can tell Tom is a teacher by that answer, because in a lot of ways we teachers are like that. We, I mean, you can't give up on people. You can't. You just can't. At least in the time that you're teaching them, you can't give up on them, because somebody else has. In a lot of ways, whenever you're teaching a kid for that year or what have you, you cannot give up on them, and they know that. They know that. But once you have no more responsibility for them, sometimes you're like, oh Christ, that is that person's very, very difficult to live with. But like I said, I mean, I take that differently in some ways, because that's your profession. You know what I mean? And you do, but you look at it from that standpoint of yeah, everybody's like that. But in a lot of ways, there's I mean, especially in America, you sort of have to separate that, because sometimes you're in a situation where there's 23 lost causes and you just can't do it, and you have to be able to separate, because otherwise I mean, it's disheartening. One of the reasons I quit teaching, and I'll just be honest about it, was because I had two students that were very, very close to me, and one of them shot the other one in a cafeteria at school.
Oh man.
And so once you realize that and then continue to try to shoot other people. He did kill 3 people, so it was a mass shooting. And then a substitute teacher actually tackled him and got the pistol out of his hand, or else he would have continued on. But that was one of those that she was brave as fuck. I look at that from that standpoint. But it's like you do look at it, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's wrong for me to say, that's it, dude, I can't teach anymore.
Right.
Maybe because I'm looking at it from standpoint of, well, that hurt me. That hurt me so bad that I just don't want to do it. and and I don't know, but like I said, that's one of those things. I have psychological issues from growing up in a semi-war zone, but
Right.
um, do I want to just sort of go back and crack that one open again? You know what I mean? Which it did, because I had to go to psychological stuff for that. But anyway, because that family was close to my family, and then they were friends with my son too. So there was a lot of potentially my son could have been there that day, but he was off school. So
Thankfully.
yeah. But I'm just saying, from that standpoint, this is the thing. People live with this, and it's it's not an easy fix. It's not an easy fix, but I mean, not doing anything doesn't work, and maybe changing something doesn't work. But don't fucking arm teachers. Just, I'm telling you right now, that is a fucking a non-starter.
Oh,
I mean, that is a terrible idea.
There'd be a lot more school shootings if they did.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And the crazy thing is they've had armed people at these, and they don't help out at all.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, from a
been
person,
in trouble.
yeah.
How many people at some of the grocery store shootings had guns? What happened with them?
Well, I think that
where were they?
Well, a lot
They
of
were
times,
hiding under the table.
yes,
crying.
Exactly where I would be.
Yeah, because you've got that pistol from that standpoint to protect yourself, and you look at that from that standpoint of do I no and based on some Supreme Court rulings, and a police officer is not necessarily constitutionally bound to charge an assailant. You know what I mean? And so from that standpoint, you could look at it from the standpoint of even the cops aren't. I mean, so in this case of the school shooting, probably no, they're going to find out that everybody waited around, and that's not a problem. And then they're going to say, well, that's terrible. Well, yeah, it is terrible, but the thing about it is that there's just no way of, I mean, whenever there's not an easy way out of it, I mean, you can rack your brain over it, and I hate to, I hate Ted Cruz with a freaking passion, but sometimes I look at it and say, is he wrong? Is he wrong in the fact that that there's no easy fix for this, and this? I mean, I don't know how you do it now. Apparently, everybody in America is mentally ill. You know what I mean? Because apparently, well, yeah, because
you watch TikTok videos, yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? I mean, like with the Tulsa shooting, the guy goes in, buys an AR-15 about an hour before he goes to the place and starts shooting people. So whenever he buys it at the gun store, he's not mentally ill. And then in the meantime, between that and the time that he was in the car, he develops a mental illness and goes in, and a madman shooting 4 or 5 people in the thing. I mean,
it breaks your heart. It breaks your heart, Kevin. Mental illness can just hit you at any time.
Yeah, just like that.
It's so sad.
What I hate about that is from that standpoint of a person who's been diagnosed at one point in time with a mental illness, that apparently it just turns off and on like that. Just turn it off and on. Just the mental illness comes along when you decide to kill somebody. That's whenever the mental illness thing has been shut on, and then they shut it.
Right. Yeah. And then they're no longer.
Yeah, that's it. So we need to fix mental health. We need to fix.
We actually do need to fix mental health.
Yes, we do. Because
but we're not going to, because Johnny Depp and Amber Heard are having a big another trial. So let's talk about that instead.
Yeah, right.
Well, no, but there's nothing we can do about that. Like literally every single politician that there is has been bought. No politician is going to go against insurance companies and big pharma, and if they did, they would end up dead. You're going to tell
Well,
me that they wouldn't be shot and killed for the
Yeah.
billions of dollars that they get every year?
Well, I think part of the issue is that at a certain point in time, there was institutions, and let's face it, if they had institutions for mental health again in America, they would have to straighten their shit out because,
No, no.
if you look at some of the ways
That
that
we've
those,
done, like what we've done to them.
yeah, in the past,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is shockingly bad. I mean,
Every time, like every country does it. If there's a mental institution and we
Yeah.
need to test something, guess who
Yeah.
gets it?
Right. I mean, makes Auschwitz look like the freaking Holiday in
It's
Cambodia.
horrifying.
You know what it really,
Yeah.
it's like, so that's the first thing. I mean, uh, so, I mean, on the one hand, you look at that and then you say, well, what does that mean to fix it? Does putting people on more Xanax help the scenario?
No, but allowing your insurance to pay for, I don't know, therapy would probably be a lot more helpful.
Right.
Because I know plenty of people who would be more than happy to go to a therapist if they didn't have to spend $200 an hour.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. And maybe if you look at your insurance and you say, okay, well, how many visits do I get? 6, or maybe 6 or 7, maybe a year. And then you look at that, and then you go, okay,
If
well,
they cover it.
yeah. I mean, so a lot of times if you do that, and then you don't know what that means if you try to say that you do need mental health. You know what I mean? There's so many things that are funny. So let's say you have a couple of the guns in your house.
Right.
And you're just a hunter or whatever, and you have a gun and a pistol, a shotgun. Let's say you have a rifle, a pistol, and a shotgun. The hunter special. You know what I mean?
Right.
So therefore, you can get at everything. But then you're starting to feel depressed because you like today, like the price of gas is $3, and then next week it's going to be $7.50, and that's getting to you. Your wife done left you, and you've got a crop in the field and 4 hungry children, or whatever, and so you feel depressed, but then you go down to the thing: are you going to admit to someone that you've got depression and guns in your house? Because at that point in time, it's like, oh, here we go. Depending on that person's sort of idea of how it is, are they going to say, okay, well, yeah, that's it. We need to have the sheriff come and take the guns from you. That's what people are thinking. You know what I mean? So it disincentivizes people from getting help.
Yeah, 100%. And also, you can't have a medical marijuana license and have a gun.
Right. Well, you're not supposed to, but I mean, a lot of
people. Well, right, a lot of people do. But what I'm saying is that's also dumb, because who's really going to get high on just smoking weed and then decide to even leave their house in the first place, unless it's to go get snacks.
But it is.
They're not going to leave and go shoot up a place. That's a lot of effort.
If you are a over drinker, an over user of marijuana, or any user of marijuana, it's federally, from the federal standpoint, if you're filling out that FFL licensing thing and you hit no, you've lied to the government, and that's the thing that and I know plenty of people who are like, oh yeah, let's smoke some weed and go out in the woods. I mean, with guns.
Yeah.
I mean, Richard and everybody, we've all watched their videos sometimes on the show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And these are people like, okay, yeah, the government's trying to take away my gun. You know what I mean? Well, technically, brother, you shouldn't have a fucking gun. You know what I mean?
It's not the government anymore. It's socialist zombies.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're going to eat their guns.
Communists?
Yeah, they're going to come and eat their guns.
Yeah. But it is one of those things where, I mean, I don't understand the need to kill children or people that you don't know. I don't understand the idea of this.
No.
I mean, that's the thing.
School shootings. I said this last week. I'll say it again. I just don't get it at all. What is the point in that? What is that going to accomplish? You're just picking on them because they're weak and vulnerable. That doesn't prove that you're a badass. It just proves you're a loser.
But a lot of the people that do these school shootings have been to that school recently. Like usually they're 18 and under.
Right.
Usually.
But I mean, I look at it like this. Okay, you know, like whenever I was growing up, there was terrorist actions against a certain people. It breaks down somewhat to religion, but not. I mean, that's just an oversimplification of whether somebody's Protestant or Catholic or whatever as to what it was. But so if you were to bomb somebody or whatever, it was somebody in that field, the enemy thing. I know that they say that Protestants went around to just random Catholics' houses and just shot them in the middle of the night. But from my perspective and level of knowledge, I could say those people were probably in the shit as much as anybody else. But I don't understand the whole idea of. So let's put it this way: you would have known what a Catholic school was. You know what I mean? There's St. Mary's Catholic School, or some primary school across the street from it or whatever. You would know that one was a prod school, one was a Catholic school. No nut job is going. I mean, even back then, people who were bombing and shooting and trying to kill, Thatcher and killed Montgomery and trying to kill the Queen or anything like that, is going to a school. I mean, shit, Al Qaeda doesn't even come to America and fucking shoot schools up. So what is our freaking problem? I mean, that's the thing that I don't understand. I mean, that's the thing, right? Terrorists don't shoot up schools, but we do.
Right.
And that's a badge of that's something we got to figure out. And that's a serious issue that we need to figure out toot sweet, because that's what it comes down to. We don't, and let's put it this way: we don't go to other countries that that we know are hotbeds for Al Qaeda or some offshoot of that in Africa and go shoot up their school. I mean, so obviously, I don't get the idea of shooting up a school, shooting up a grocery store, shooting up any of those things. I mean, if you look at it from the standpoint, okay, if the IRA back in the day put a bomb in a grocery store, which happens, right? They would call and tell you, look, you got half an hour to get these people out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they would tell you. But not this. It's like they're just going to show up and then that's it. Just start railing people. I don't understand it. So yeah, maybe we do have a mental illness problem, but I don't. But we have an overt aggression problem.
It's more of an attention-seeking problem. Had a whole generation raised on reality TV to believe that being famous was the most important thing in the world, and a vast majority of these crimes are committed for attention. Right. I'm sorry to say.
Well, I mean, did you read in the paper that John Hinckley was getting out? That he's getting out of the thing, and he's
he never should have been in jail in the first place. Jodie Foster should have been in jail. She was the problem.
So I'm saying this, that he has learned how to play the guitar, and he's going on the road. And if at one of his quotes, Sam shared it with me the other day, and I was laughing my ass off. I'm not sure exactly what it was. It was like time to get over it and time to rock and roll. Time to get out of the hole and time to rock and roll. I'm going on the street.
I mean, he never really should have been in jail in the first place. I mean, did they give out Nobel Prizes for attempted chemistry? No.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Richard, if he gets out of jail and he comes to your area, would you go and see him? Why'd you see his act? Would you see his act?
Would I see John Hinckley perform? Yeah, I think I might. You know, I think I might turn up when he was famous and shoot him just for the irony.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to not fatally, obviously, but
Yeah, well,
you know, shoot him with like a BB gun or a paintball gun or something,
well, he
just for
actually,
the irony.
he,
Just
he
you know,
actually, he shot President Reagan with it was a pistol, it was a pistol, a 22 short though, a 22 short revolver, which is, if you think about it, I mean, very small bullet, very low powder. You probably could get a BB gun that was actually more powerful than that.
yeah,
But
shoot him with an airsoft rifle or something, just
yeah,
for the crack, just
yeah,
to you know, so he could be like, oh, from the other side, this isn't as fun.
yeah. Would you at that point in time wear some form of mask from, say, a character in the Silence of the Lambs?
No. I'd shoot him with the airsoft, and then I'd walk off to one side and start reading The Catcher in the Rye until the police showed up.
He wouldn't be like, yes, Dr. Lecter, I heard the way they screamed at night. Yeah.
That was okay. So the quote was wrong. The accent was wrong. Nothing about that was good in any way, Kevin.
I understand. Well, that's what I've been practicing. I've been practicing this one all week, so I could say it's very good.
See, that's a passable Prince Charles.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm in Wolford now, looking at this pub.
Oh, don't! It was 10 minutes. Like it was the final show of the week where they're supposed to set up the stories for next week, and they wasted 10 minutes with those two becking Egypts. It just wound me up. Like I was screaming at the TV. I was so mad.
Yeah, but Rocky, because he pulled it off, it gets to move back in with Kathy, and what's her name, Linda, and what's his nuts, who got them to, Danny Dyer. They're warming up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like that whole thing. I get what they're trying to do, but they should have picked someone other than Mick because, like, you knew that Janine never really had a chance in the first place.
Well, but the funny thing about it is, there's 50,000 pounds has gone now between 8 people.
Yeah,
it's
bounced around the square.
Yeah, it really has. It was like, Sam's like, how many people has that gone through? And she's like counting it up, and she's like, eight people.
It's gone from Nancy to Janine to Linda to Denise to Sam, so 5 people.
Yeah. Well, that's well, we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens. But I thought that was a very clever thing, and it just goes to show you, because I was ripped off for 2,500 quid in London one time, in a very similar type of scenario, where it was just like an electronic transfer, and that was it, and it was gone, and that it was terrible. But at least it wasn't 50 grand. At least it wasn't 50 grand. But I mean, like these sort of transactions where you think that you're in a business and you're paying for it, and you're getting this all done, and it's just quick, easy. Here's this thing, put in your password, the money's out of your account, it's in there, and that's what they think it is. And they have bogus paperwork for it. I mean, it's you have to be very careful. I mean, that's what I'm saying. In the world where electronic transfers happen automatically, I mean, it's very easy to get ripped off. I'm just saying to people, just be careful. Be careful.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was 7 years ago. So the sophistication of criminals have gotten a lot worse, for sure.
So that'll wrap us up for this week. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about next week?
Well, not the coronation and how. I mean, not the jubilee and how that went. Apparently,
Yeah, no, we're not talking about it.
we're not talking about that. What are we going to do? Because we're not that far off. We're not that far off from having King Charles. You realize that. You realize that we're not very far off from that, because the queen is if she can't show up for anything on the coronation day itself, I mean, she'll take the role of the Queen Mother. She won't have to die, God bless her. But but she'll just step aside and she'll let old King Charles rule the roost. You've got to get ready for that, Richard, because that'll be a bigger deal. That'll be a huge deal that everybody's talking about for a long time.
I'm personally hope it ends the same way King Charles II's reign did. But,
What? Coming out of Westminster Palace with 2 shirts on and getting his head cut off?
Getting found in an oak tree and then... But, yeah, whatever. King Charles, the whatever it is, that's going to happen. There's another thing I don't care about, and just it's going to happen. And it just annoys me. So if no one... Niki, do you know what I want to talk about next week?
I have nothing. I don't care what we talk about next week.
Well, I would say something definitely will come up.
Mm-hmm.
If no one's got any better ideas, then we're going to talk about how far would you go to get what you want. The frankly insane case of Diane Downs.
Okay.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, I think that's really good because
like, what do you mean? How far would you go? Like to the mailbox?
Would you say
walk a mile?
Yeah. Would you say that you had opened a portal and brought 14,000 Bigfoot through something with your friends?
No, she did something quite horrifically real.
No, I understand, but that was going pretty far, Richard. That was going pretty far to get what you want.
Yeah, but that was going in your imagination. I'm talking about reality.
Well, for some people, it is reality. I'm just saying, some people are still making movies about Bigfoot, and it's all about their imagination, brother. There's one that just came out. There's another one that just came out. That's all I'm saying. So, people will go a very far, and then, from that standpoint, I think, they're gonna look at it from the 2 standpoints of flesh and bone and the woo, and they're going to try to explain the 2 parts of it, and that's pissed everybody off. They're apparently going to make a 3-part trilogy of the thing, and I can tell you already, from what I've heard, people are getting up from the table and walking away and telling to the woo people, well, if this is what I'm looking for, I wish I'd never started. It's going to be good, baby. I want to always the thing that I always want to do is make a documentary of people making documentaries, because especially with a subject like Bigfoot, because it always.
How metaphysical do you want to go?
Well, that's what I'm saying, Tom. You could go the whole way.
I want to approach reality from a metaphysical side. We want to go full circle, reality through metaphysical reality.
Well, that's nothing, right? Because I want to make a documentary about people who make documentaries about people who make documentaries.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
you could just keep milking this cow forever and ever.
Well, this is the thing I find interesting, that these people are still trying to get money out of a dead horse. In my opinion, it's a kitsch. It's a kitsch thing. It's a roadside attraction T-shirt marketing keychain thing that sells sausages and pepperoni and stuff, and that's what it is. And then so that's the one part. The second part is that it's a a sacred Indian belief system, and then the third part is it's somebody who says, okay, well, something's out in the woods and I want to go and do it. No, those people who go out in the woods there's a fraction of them who say, okay, listen, there's somebody selling T-shirts and stuff like that. I want to make money off it, and so therefore I'm going to do this and this and that. But I mean, here's the
why
thing.
can't they just go dogging like everyone else?
Well,
Well, they are in a sort
yeah,
of
exactly,
roundabout way.
exactly. I mean, it's a
They're going footing,
Yeah,
not dogging.
yes, Sasquatching is a covering for dogging. You know, that's a brilliant observation from somebody who does not know, you know, the Bigfoot community very well. That Sasquatching in the woods is dogging. You just know who you're fucking. You know what I mean? That's it. It's not anonymous. You just know who you're fucking. But anyway.
On that delightful note, should we call it a night, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think ending it on, you know, Bigfoot sex is the best way to call it a night. Isn't it? Good night from everyone. Good night.
Night, everybody.